Good morning, world. My name is Chase and this is Mabel. I'm a personal trainer who is working on a podcast, and she is a freeloading mutt who is working on a novel to be released sometime. And first of all, today we're here to get some hugs, but second of all, we're here to talk about your fitness first steps. There is so much information out there. Where do you start? But before I break out my whiteboard to break this down, I do want to mention that at the end of this video, Mabel and I will be doing a little snack testing. Now, when it comes to product reviews, I typically don't like to prostitute my taste buds out to companies, but this time it was different. You see, Omar from Schoolyard Snacks reached out to me. He said, hey man, if you try our cereal and our cheese puffs on your channel and give them a review, good or bad, we'll be happy to award you with $50, or we'll give $50 to a charity of your choice, which I thought, what a good opportunity to donate to the Beaver County Humane Society, where we got this lovable mutt. And she is so excited about it. And this whiteboard video, like all great whiteboard videos, is starting with a quote from last week's video. In the comment section, Apple Gal wrote in, "Motivation gets you started and dedication keeps you going." Which I think is a fantastic quote for anybody that is getting started, because if you're watching this video and you're trying to figure out what those fitness first steps are, you are probably feeling quite motivated. But before you take that first step, I want you to understand that that motivation you're feeling today probably won't last forever. And moving forward, sincere consistency and dedication are going to play huge roles in you actually achieving any kind of change. And I know that you're motivated, and I know you want to get started and go full steam ahead. A lot of times we want to jump right into climbing the mountain, but before we get to climbing the mountain, we need to get to the mountain. This is about walking our way to that mountain that we're going to climb, that's going to take us to where we want to go.
We're going to Candy Mountain. We're going on an adventure, Charlie.
So these first steps are all about familiarizing yourself with the game. They're about dialing in the scope. And before we adjust our aim, before we adjust the variables, we need to collect those variables. And up here in the corner is my crude drawing of a gun pointed at a target. And yes, I know this video is no longer safe for schools, but hey, I think this metaphor really rings true, because if you're aiming for that bullseye but your scope is off, you're always gonna have a hard time hitting it. If you just take a month to dial in the scope and figure out what you're doing, you're gonna have a much better long-term result here.
6 inches right.
If you practice these first steps on this board before hiring a personal trainer, your trainer is going to love you. Just pick one of these tips on this here board and do it this week. I'll be your temporary coach. Report in on the next video. Which of these steps did you implement into your life and how did it go? First, we need to get clear about where you're at and what your goals are. A lot of people get stuck in this trap of pursuing goals that they can't really measure, and therefore the goals never feel real and they never feel like they're actually accomplishing anything or making progress. Examples of these goals include things like, hey, I want to lose weight. I want to get healthier. I want to get stronger. They're just vague concepts to chase and chase and chase and never really fulfill. But just get out a sheet of paper, get out a pen, and write down some ideas. I recommend starting with your who, what, where, when, why, and how. Who are you? Really, who are you? Write down your attributes, write down your strengths and your weaknesses, and maybe your goals can play into your strengths and weaknesses. Maybe start with what's easy. What do you want to achieve? What do you want to do? Make sure that this what is realistic and timely and measurable. Where are you at in the world? Like, what is your immediate environment looking like? Maybe you're in a place right now that lends itself towards a particular goal. Take that into consideration. When? And this is a huge one, because at different chapters of your life, you're gonna be able to pursue different things. There are certain chapters of your life when you're gonna be able to dedicate a lot of time to your health and fitness journey, and there are other chapters when it's gonna have to take a back seat because other things are more important. Understand that your life circumstances are always changing. The only constant in life is change. So take a good look at where you're at and when you're at, and base your goals around these two things. Why do you want to pursue this? Why do you want to lose weight? Why do you want to get stronger? What is this why? And make sure it's an honest why. You're gonna spend the next several months pursuing this goal. Make sure that that goal is coming from a true, authentic place in your heart. And make sure that this goal is not rooted in some deep-seated fears within yourself. If you're always running away from something, your entire fitness journey is gonna have this flavor of pessimism, of escapism, of self-judgment. Where on the other hand, if your goal goal is rooted in some deep-seated love for yourself, deep-seated love for the fact that you want to show up and be your best self for the community, for your family, for the people around you, and even when you run out of motivation, you're still gonna have love in your heart to show up and give it all you got. And last but not least, we have the H, which stands for how. The how is where we actually get into the science and the application and adjusting things over time. You might want to reach out to a personal trainer, read some books, do some studying, join some Facebook groups. But before you confront the overwhelming amount of information out there, take some time to work on the fundamentals. Let's talk about fundamental number 1. Hydration. And I don't think I need to convince you that drinking enough water is an important thing, but before you start to focus on food and changing your diet, just focus on drinking more water.
I don't need it, don't need it. I need it!
If you can prove to yourself that you can drink more water, then maybe you can prove to yourself that you can change your diet. So let's start with a very generic goal, 1 gallon of water per day. All you need to do is acquire a 1 gallon jug and serve yourself water out of it all day. To get more specific, you could figure out your body weight in pounds, divide that in 2, and that's how many ounces of water you should be drinking. Add about 15 ounces if you do exercise daily, but all of that is a little bit confusing and usually ends up somewhere around 1 gallon of water per day. Whether you can hit your water intake goal or not, the important thing is that you start tracking. Speaking of tracking, let's start tracking steps. You don't need to start running right off the bat. You don't need to start getting 10,000 steps a day immediately. You just need to figure out how many steps you're getting right now. So whether it's a Fitbit or an iPhone or a pedometer, whatever you want to use to track your steps, a lot of times the mere act of tracking steps encourages you to get more steps. And I think that a good goal for people that are just getting started on tracking their daily steps is to just go for 1 walk every day. I don't know how many thousand steps are going to be right for you, but I want to figure out what your average is. And after a few weeks go by, look at your weekly average, and now this is a variable that we can adjust over time. Maybe we want to push for a little more weight loss, we can increase the steps, but before we increase the steps, we gotta know what the steps are. Dial in the scope before adjusting your aim. Now let's look at sleep. So I recently did an entire video on sleep, and if you need convinced that sleep is important, check that out. But you want to start tracking your sleep. You want to dial in that variable. You want to figure out how much you're typically sleeping every night of the week. And hey, maybe my weekends look a lot different than my weekdays. That's something that you want to take note of. That's going to affect your performance in workouts when you start doing them. And a good goal for people is about 7 hours per night. And if you're struggling to hit that right off the bat, no worries. Don't give yourself a hard time. Just understand that even tracking your sleep is a big step in the right direction. All right, now we're getting into the 3 Ps. And yeah, I have 3 Ps on here twice. We'll get to this one next. But right now we're talking about 3 Ps as it pertains to 3 plates. And you might have heard me talk about this before, but I'm a huge proponent of the 3 plates, 2 snacks method of dieting. This was originally popularized by an online fitness trainer named Jordan Syatt, who I think is incredible, who you guys should definitely go follow. 3 plates, 2 snacks is a very basic way to understand nutrition, where you simply eat 3 plates of food and 2 snacks every day. And the hard part is you only eat 3 plates of food and 2 snacks every day. And you don't eat off of these plates until you're sitting down at the table ready to eat. How do I create 3 plates of food every day that leave me feeling full and satisfied and energized and just proud about my daily food choices? And in between those plates, you can have snacks which typically fit in the palm of your hand.
What do you want?
And I know it sounds like a very vague way to go about eating, but this is a serious practice in adding mindfulness to the table. If we can establish consistency in 3 plates and 2 snacks, and every day those plates look similar, every day those snacks look similar, now we have variables that we can adjust over time. So before you go on some crazy fad diet or cut out an entire food group or say I'm going strict paleo, strict keto, strict whatever, just get 3 plates of food every day. And once you dial in those variables, now we can look at adjusting what's on those plates. A very easy way to optimize your plate just a little bit is to follow the 3P mantra. Increase plants, decrease processing, increase protein. But if you can get more of your plate to consist of fruits and vegetables, you're generally gonna have more fiber in your diet, more vitamins, more minerals, more micronutrients, healthy carbohydrates, and you're typically gonna feel fuller for longer after your meals. On the contrary, we typically wanna scale back on highly processed foods. There's a lot of correlation between how much processing a food goes through and how much we are likely to overeat it. But also, I don't wanna demonize processed foods too bad, because I definitely have processed foods in my diet every day. Like, what is a processed food, but cutting back on them is probably a good idea no matter what your goals are. And last but not least, increasing protein. Everybody is so hyperfixated on fats and carbs these days that protein is falling under the radar, and a lot of people are not hitting their daily recommended protein target of 1 gram per pound of lean body mass per day. Whether you're trying to build muscle or burn body fat, protein is the go-to macronutrient to focus on. Before counting calories, before counting fats and carbs, count that protein. Or just look at your plate and add some protein to it. And if you need tips on protein options, I've already done a video on that. I'll link it up here and in the description below. I have a lot of videos. I'm gonna promote them. Cross promotion, right? All right, next tip. And now I wanna talk about optimizing your environment. You are a creature that exists in the world around you. Think about it. If you were stranded in the Sahara Desert, it would be really easy to lose weight. On the other hand, if you were stranded in Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, it would be really easy to gain weight. Create an environment that puts you somewhere between Willy Wonka's chocolate factory and the Sahara Desert. You wanna live in a place that enables you to be healthy, both in terms of fitness and in terms of diet. So maybe you want to create an environment that causes you to walk a little more. Maybe you want to make your life less convenient. Maybe if you work at home, you want to get a standing desk. Maybe you want to make sure that you always have one beverage on your desk, and whenever you finish it, you got to get up and walk to the kitchen to refill it. Plus, if you're drinking all day, you're going to have to be walking to the bathroom more. A lot of perks from just staying hydrated. And yes, this is decaf coffee. Sorry, I'm a loser. Maybe you can even inject some exercise into your day, have some environmental cues. Maybe you have a pull-up bar on the way to your kitchen. Every time you walk into your kitchen, you do a pull-up. If you want to go the extra mile, you can put a damn dog in your life, and that'll make sure that you get a ton of extra steps every day, right, Mabel? Okay, I don't know if you can see her, but she is asleep on her chair right now, as she is in nearly every video that I ever shoot. And when it comes to food, you want to make sure that you get those trigger foods out of your pantry. If you're having a craving for ice cream and there's no ice cream in the freezer, you're going to be way less likely to give into that temptation. And yeah, there are going to be healthier alternatives for all of your guilty pleasures, but truly developing a long-term healthy relationship with food will involve you conquering some of these cravings. Like, get a grip on them and understand that you don't always have to give in. And if you are craving that ice cream and it isn't in your freezer, and you take a couple deep breaths, you let 15 minutes go by, and you realize that giving into this craving is not going to be the end of the world, then yeah, maybe you can drive over to your local supermarket and get some ice cream and enjoy it. But understand how many steps had to occur between you and the ice cream. I'm not asking you to give up ice cream forever. I'm just asking you to maybe not make it a staple food if you know you have problems with it. Optimize that environment. Don't live in the Sahara Desert. Don't live in Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. Live somewhere in between. And the last tip on my list is to get grateful, to practice gratitude every day. And yeah, this sounds a little woo-woo, I get it. I wish that this didn't work as well as it does, but it works. There is a reason that so many successful people in this world have a daily gratitude practice. There is a reason that all of the major religions revolve around gratitude in some way. There is true science behind practicing gratitude and how it can impact your life in a myriad of positive ways. Constantly expressing what you're grateful for is gonna put you into a more optimistic mindset. And just like I talked about at the beginning, your mindset is gonna play a huge role in how adherent you are in this long-term health and fitness journey. So the easiest way to get started with gratitude is gonna be to write down 3 things that you're grateful for every day. Like today, I was grateful for decaf coffee, I was grateful for my running shoes, and I was grateful for the new Cheek Face album, which I think is fantastic.
Listen to your heart. No.
See, these are 3 totally random things to be grateful for, but it puts my brain in a state of optimism. Left to its own devices, your brain is hardwired to search for problems. Evolutionarily speaking, the ability to identify problems would have done us a lot in the survival of the fittest era. But now it's really easy to survive, and we don't need to be constantly looking for problems, so we need to go out of our way to constantly look for things that we're grateful for, things that get us thinking optimistically rather than pessimistically. This journey that you're about to embark on is going to be long and hard. What you need to do is quite simple, but the application of that is not easy. And understand the best way to push through that hardship is going to be with a mindset of optimism. There are a lot of things to be happy about, a lot of things that make life worth living, a lot of things that make the pursuit worth chasing. But your mind doesn't want to instinctively think like this, so you have to go out of your way to make it happen. If you don't do anything else on this list, developing that daily gratitude practice might be the spark that kindles the fire that allows everything else to occur. And that's it for the tips on getting started with your health and fitness journey. So pick just one thing from this video and apply it to your life and let me know how it goes. And if you have a quote that you would like featured on next week's whiteboard, definitely drop it in the comments below. But don't forget to use this week's secret emoji, which will be a bowl of cereal. So we're gonna try some cereal, but before we do, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below featuring this week's secret emoji for your chance to become the next Apple gal. You'll be featured on the next whiteboard. You might even predict the scope of the entire next video. How about that? And without further ado, let's eat some cereal, huh? All right, cheers.
Crazy mother.
Alright, I'm pretty excited to try these snacks. Now, I've never had cereal come in a little bag like this. I like me a good dry cereal from time to time, but everything's better when covered in some nice nut juice, am I right? Almond milk. I'm looking at these snacks real quick, and both of them come in at 100 calories per bag, so whether you're going with the cheddar cheese puffs or you're going with the peanut butter cereal, both around 5 grams of fat and 15 grams of protein, not bad, especially for being keto. A lot of times keto products make up for the fact they're keto by being loaded with dietary fat, and hence the calories are pretty out of whack. But this is not loaded with fat, so I'm pretty happy about that. Not that there's anything wrong with fat, but there's no reason to go overboard. Looks like they're both sweetened with monk fruit and allulose, which makes me happy as well. But enough about the boring nutrition facts. And Mabel, I'm sorry, but I'm not gonna let you have any just because I'm not sure if it's good for doggos. But the Humane Society is gonna get 50 bucks, so isn't that something to be happy about? Alright, let's hit this cereal first. Right off the bat, smell test. Smells good. Smells like Reese's Puffs. Yum. This is out of the ordinary for me because Magic Spoon comes in O shapes. This is in sphere shapes. Little globs of peanut buttery goodness. Let's go for a dry scoop. Totally missed my mouth. It's surprisingly crunchy. Very airy, crunchy. It's got a little bit of salt. It's very crunchy. Like if you're gonna be this crunchy, you better be covered in milk. If you watch my Magic Spoon review, you'll know that they also make a peanut butter cereal that I love, probably my favorite flavor of Magic Spoon. This is way more like Pops and it's way crunchier than Magic Spoon. Drink in the end with the last few bites, that's the best part, right? Still want to give that like a 7 or 8 out of 10. That is very good. Yeah, I would totally send my kids to school with this. I also love the packaging. 10 out of 10 on packaging and presentation. Cheddar cheese puff snacks. Oh, look at that. I've been opening them wrong. They have a convenient tear right here. Ooh, that smell. That passes the smell test. 10 out of 10 on the smell test. I really hope it turns my fingers orange. That's another test. Does it turn my fingers orange? So as you can see, we just got some basic cheese puff action. This is your classic puff. We got a similar formula for the cereal going on here. This is like one of the crunchiest cheese puffs I've ever had. The flavor is delicious though. This is definitely a 9 out of 10 on cheese puff flavor. So yeah, that's Schoolyard Snacks. If you guys are getting started on your fitness journey, need to optimize your environment, get some healthy snacks, I think, hey, why not? Try them out. Get out there guys, take some action. Hopefully this video helped you get some ideas of what you can do to get started on your fitness journey. Just pick one thing that you're gonna do this week and do it. And do not forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below featuring this week's secret emoji for your chance to be featured on the next whiteboard. Until next time, I'm Chase, these are Schoolyard Snacks, and we will catch you in the next one. Cheers.